Hello, I'm Katie St Ores, tax strategist, wealth manager, and producer of The Deep Dive. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 41, and today we will do a deep dive into the Roth 401k and the Roth IRA. This request comes to us from Patricia in Boise, Idaho. Okay, it looks like Elizabeth and Michael are all ready to start, so let's get going.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. This is Season 3, Episode 41. And a big hello to Patricia from Boise, Idaho. Thanks for the great question that sparked today's topic. With us, as always, is Katie St Ores. She's a certified financial planner, tax strategist, and the producer guiding this whole deep dive. So, Patricia, today we are really getting into Roth retirement accounts. Specifically, we're looking at Roth 401k versus Roth IRAs.
Yeah, the goal is to sort of unpack the key differences, help you figure out which one, or maybe both, might work best for your retirement plan. And, the core appeal of both these Roth accounts is pretty powerful, right?
Absolutely.
You put in money after you've paid taxes on it.
Okay.
And then the qualified withdrawals you take out later in retirement,
Wow.
totally tax-free.
Tax-free. That's the magic word. It offers tax diversification, which is really important down the road.
Exactly. So you're kind of paying the tax toll now for a tax-free highway later.
Great analogy. So the two main players we're comparing are the Roth 401k. That's usually through work, right?
Typically, yeah. Employer sponsors.
And then the Roth IRA, which is the one you set up yourself.
That's the individual one.
Okay, Patricia, let's get into it. Let's start with the fundamentals. What exactly are these accounts? Maybe the Roth 401k first.
Sure. So the Roth 401k isn't like a totally separate plan. It's a feature within your employer's regular 401k.
Ah, okay. An option.
Exactly. Its availability depends entirely on whether your employer decides to offer it. But it's becoming much more common. By 2023, something like over 90% of employers with 401ks had a Roth option.
Wow, okay. So pretty widespread now.
Yeah. And the employer manages the plan, chooses the investments you can pick from, that sort of thing.
Right, like you said, tied to the employer.
Yeah.
So what of the Roth IRA then? How's that different?
The Roth IRA is an individual retirement account. You, the individual, set it up, manage it yourself, totally separate from any employer.
Okay, complete control.
Pretty much. You choose the bank or brokerage, you decide how to invest the money, you make those after-tax contributions. And just like the Roth 401k, the growth and qualified withdrawals are tax-free later.
So the key difference is really employer-sponsored versus you doing it on your own.
That's the main distinction, yeah.
Okay, that clears things up nicely. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How much money can you actually put into these things? What are the contribution limits for, say, 2025?
Okay, yeah, this is where you see a really, really big difference. For the Roth 401k in 2025, if you're under 50, the limit you can put in is $23,500.
$23,500. Okay.
If you're 50 or older, there's a catch-up, an extra $7,500. So that brings your total up to $31,000 potentially?
$41,000. That's quite a jump.
It is. And then thanks to the Secure 2.0 Act, there's this potential super catch-up for people aged 60 to 63.
Super catch.
Yeah, it's an additional $11,250 on top of the regular catch-up. So potentially $34,750 total. But big caveat, employers have to choose to adopt this super catch-up. It's not automatic.
Oh, okay. So you have to check your specific plan.
Definitely.
Taxes stressing you out? Don't worry, 1-800-ACCOUNTANT is here. Expert help, affordable rates. Call 1-800-ACCOUNTANT today and leave the headaches to the tax pros. Click the link below.
And then there's also an overall limit for the 401k that includes your contributions, any employer match, everything. For 2025, that's $70,000 or 100% of your pay, whichever is less. The catch-ups are actually in addition to that limit.
Wow. So the Roth 401k lets you potentially save a lot of money on a tax-advantaged basis.
Absolutely. Significant capacity there.
So how does the Roth IRA compare? Those numbers seem hard to beat.
They are quite a bit lower, yeah.
Yeah.
For a Roth IRA in 2025, if you're under 50, the limit is $7,000.
$7,000. Okay, big difference from $23,500.
Big difference. If you're 50 or older, there's a $1,000 catch-up, so you can contribute up to $8,000.
$8,000 total.
Right. And here's a crucial point. That $7,000 or $8,000 limit, it applies across all your IRAs, traditional and Roth combined.
Ah, okay. So you can't do 7 in Roth and 7 in a traditional IRA in the same year.
Nope. It's a combined limit. Plus, you generally need earned income, and you can't contribute more to your IRAs than your taxable compensation for the year.
Got it. So, yeah, comparing them side by side, the Roth 401k clearly has a much, much higher ceiling for contributions.
Definitely. It's a major advantage if you're looking to save aggressively.
Okay. Now, what about who can contribute? Are there income restrictions, things like that? Especially thinking about Patricia and others listening.
Yes, another really key difference here. For the Roth IRA, there are income limits.
Yep.
They're based on your modified adjusted gross income, or MGI, and how you file your taxes. For 2025, let's see, if you're single, your MGI needs to be under $150,000 for a full contribution.
Under 150K single.
Right. Then there's a phase-out range up to $165,000. If your MGI is above that, you can't contribute directly to a Roth IRA at all.
Okay, so there's a cutoff. What about married couples?
For married filing jointly, the full contribution limit is a MAGI under $236,000, and that phases out up to $246,000. Above that, no direct Roth IRA contribution.
Gotcha. So definitely need to be aware of your income level for the Roth IRA.
Absolutely.
What about the Roth 401k side? Same income limits?
Nope. And this is a huge deal for many people. There are no income limits for contributing to a Roth 401k.
Really? None at all?
None. Doesn't matter how much you earn. If your employer offers a Roth 401k, you can contribute up to those limits. We discussed the $23,500 plus catch-ups if applicable.
Wow. That makes it incredibly valuable, especially for higher earners who get phased out of the Roth IRA.
Exactly. It's a way for them to still get money into a Roth vehicle. And actually, starting in 2026, though it got delayed, there's a Secure 2.0 rule that says catch-up contributions for highly compensated employees, defined as making over $160,000 in 2025.
Yeah.
Those catch-up contributions must be Roth.
Interesting. So even more reason for high earners to use the Roth 401k if they want to make catch-up contributions.
Precisely. It keeps the Roth door open.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about, well, everyone's favorite topic. Free money. Employer matching. Do you get that with Roth 401k?
You certainly can, yes. It's a major potential perk.
Okay.
If your employer offers a 401k match, they typically use the same formula, whether you contribute to the traditional side or the Roth side. So yeah, contributing to the Roth 401k can absolutely get you that employer match. It's essentially extra money for your retirement.
Fantastic. Now, how's that match treated tax-wise? If I put money into the Roth 401k after tax, is the match also after tax?
Good question. Historically, no. The employer match has always gone into the pre-tax side of your 401k, even if your own contributions were Roth.
Oh, okay. So you could end up with both Roth after-tax money and traditional pre-tax money in the same 401k account.
Exactly. Your contributions are Roth. The match is pre-tax. That's been the standard way.
Got it.
However, Secure 2.0 changed this too. It introduced an option for employers.
Another option.
Yep. Employers can choose to allow employees to designate their matching contributions as Roth.
Oh, really? So the match could go in as Roth money, too?
It could if your employer adopts this feature and if you elect it. But there's a catch.
There's always a catch, isn't there?
Sort of. If you choose the Roth match, that match amount is considered taxable income to you in the year it's contributed.
Okay. So you pay income tax on the match amount up front.
Correct. You pay tax now, but then that matched money plus its earnings can be withdrawn tax-free in retirement, just like your own Roth contributions.
So it's a trade-off. Pay tax now on the match for tax-free withdrawals later.
Precisely. You really need to check with your specific plan to see if this Roth match option is even available. Many plans might not offer it yet.
Taxes stressing you out? Don't worry, 1-800-ACCOUNTANT is here. Expert help, affordable rates. Call 1-800-ACCOUNTANT today and leave the headaches to the tax pros. Click the link below.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, for Roth IRAs, no employer match, right? Since it's an individual account.
Correct. No employer match possible with an IRA. That's strictly a 401k benefit.
Okay, the employer match is definitely a significant point in favor of the 401k, potentially. Now, what if life throws a curveball? What if Patricia or anyone needs to get money out before retirement age, say before 59 and a half?
Yeah, this is another area with some pretty big differences, especially regarding flexibility.
Okay, how so? Let's start with the Roth IRA.
With a Roth IRA, you can generally withdraw your contributions, the actual dollars you put in anytime, for any reason, tax-free and penalty-free.
Just the contributions?
Just the contributions, yes. The principal. Now, if you take out earnings before age 59 and a half, those earnings are usually subject to both income tax and a 10% early withdrawal penalty.
Okay.
But
yeah,
there are exceptions to that 10% penalty for certain things, like a first-time home purchase, qualified education costs, disability, things like that. Taxes on earnings would still apply, though, unless you meet the 5-year rule.
We'll get to that 5-year rule. And you mentioned an order for withdrawals.
Yes, important point. Withdrawals from a Roth IRA are ordered. First out are your direct contributions, then any money you converted from traditional accounts, and last out are the earnings.
Okay, so contributions first. That gives you some access without immediate tax hits or penalties, potentially.
Exactly. More liquidity for the money you put in.
How does the Roth 401k compare on early withdrawals? Is it as flexible?
Generally, no. It's typically more restrictive, especially while you're still working for that employer.
Okay.
You usually can't just take out your contributions whenever you want. Access is often limited to specific events, leaving your job, hitting age 59 and a half, death, disability, maybe severe financial hardship if the plan allows. Some plans also offer loans.
Right. Loans aren't an option with IRAs.
Correct. And unlike the Roth IRA's ordering rule, if you take a non-qualified withdrawal from a Roth 401k, meaning before 59 and a half without an exception, it's usually treated pro rata.
Pro rata, what does that mean?
It means each withdrawal is considered partly a return of your contributions and partly a distribution of earnings based on the proportion in your account.
Ah, okay. So even if you only withdraw an amount equal to your contributions, some of it might still be treated as earnings.
Exactly. And that earnings portion would be taxable and likely hit with the 10% penalty if you're under 59 and a half and don't meet the 5-year rule.
Got it. Less straightforward than the IRA contribution withdrawal.
Definitely. There is one interesting exception for 401ks, though, the age 55 rule.
Age 55.
Yeah. If you leave your job, quit, retire, get laid off in or after the year you turn 55, you can take money from that specific 401k without the 10% penalty. You'd still owe taxes on the earnings part if the 5-year rule isn't met, but you avoid the penalty.
Okay, that's good to know. So Roth IRA wins on easy access to contributions. Roth 401k is generally tighter, but has that age 55 rule and loan potential.
That's a good summary, yeah.
All right, now, the infamous 5-year rule. Or rules, maybe. It always sounds a bit confusing. Can we break this down simply for Patricia?
Let's try. Yeah, there are really two main 5-year rules people talk about with Roth accounts.
Okay, rule number 1.
Rule number 1 determines if the earnings you withdraw are tax-free. To get tax-free earnings, you generally need two things. First, you have to be at least 59 and a half years old, or the withdrawal is due to death or disability.
Okay, age 59 and a half or specific event. And second,
a 5-year holding period needs to be met.
the 5-year clock. When does that clock start ticking?
This is where it differs again. For a Roth IRA, that 5-year clock starts on January 1st of the year you made your very first contribution to any Roth IRA you own.
Any Roth IRA ever. So
Yeah.
it's a universal clock for all your Roth IRAs.
Exactly. Once you start it, it applies to all subsequent Roth IRA contributions and accounts you might open.
Okay, what about the Roth 401k? Same clock.
No. For a Roth 401k, each plan generally has its own 5-year clock. It starts on January 1st of the year you first contribute to that specific employer's Roth 401k plan.
Ah, okay. So if Patricia changes jobs and starts contributing to a new employer's Roth 401k, a new 5-year clock starts for that account.
Generally, yes. Each Roth 401k plan can have its own clock for this purpose.
How do rollovers affect this, like rolling a Roth 401k to a Roth IRA?
Good question. If you roll money from a Roth 401k into a Roth IRA, the Roth IRA's 5-year clock governs everything in that IRA, including the rolled over money.
So the 401k's clock doesn't carry over to the IRA for this rule.
Correct. The IRA's clock takes precedence. If you don't already have a Roth IRA clock started, the rollover might start it. If you roll from one Roth 401k to another Roth 401k, usually the holding period from the older plan carries over.
Okay. And the consequence of not meeting this 5-year rule for earnings.
If you take out earnings before the 5 years are up, even if you are over 59 and a half, those earnings will be taxable. Usually no penalty if you're over 59 and a half, just the tax. If you're under 59 and a half and haven't met the 5-year rule, earnings are generally taxed and penalized.
Got it. Tax-free earnings require age 59 and a half, usually, and satisfying the 5-year clock, which starts differently for IRAs and 401ks. What's rule number 2 then?
Rule number 2 is mainly about Roth conversions.
Conversions, like moving money from a traditional IRA or 401k to a Roth IRA.
Exactly. When you do that, you usually pay income tax on the converted amount. The second 5-year rule says that if you withdraw those converted funds, specifically the part that was taxable when you converted it, you might face a 10% penalty.
Okay, when does that penalty apply?
It applies if you withdraw those taxable converted amounts before both reaching age 59 and a half and before 5 years have passed since that specific conversion.
So each conversion has its own 5-year clock for penalty purposes.
Yes. Each conversion starts its own 5-year clock on January 1st of the year the conversion was made. This rule is basically to stop people from converting just to immediately pull the money out penalty-free.
Right, prevents gaming the system. So multiple clocks potentially if you do multiple conversions.
Right. That's right. It underscores the benefit of starting a Roth IRA early, even with a small amount, just to get that main earnings clock, Rule 1, going.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about required minimum distributions, RMDs. Do you have to start taking money out of these Roth accounts eventually?
This used to be a key difference, but things have changed. For Roth IRAs, the original owner never has to take RMDs during their lifetime.
Never. So the money can just stay in there and grow tax-free forever, potentially.
For your lifetime, yes. That's always been a big perk of the Roth IRA.
What about Roth 401ks? Did they have RMDs?
They did. Historically, Roth 401ks were subject to lifetime RMDs starting at a certain age, just like traditional 401ks. This was actually a common reason people would roll their Roth 401k into a Roth IRA to avoid those forced withdrawals.
Okay, but you said things changed.
Yes. Secure 2.0 strikes again. For tax years starting after 2023, lifetime RMDs for Roth money in employer plans like Roth 401ks have been eliminated.
Wow, so now Roth 401ks are treated the same as Roth IRAs in terms of lifetime RMDs.
Exactly. No lifetime RMDs required for the original owner of either type of Roth account now. It's a really significant alignment.
That is big news. Makes Roth 401ks even more appealing for long-term growth. So no RMDs during your lifetime. What happens after the owner passes away? Do beneficiaries have to take RMDs?
Yes. While lifetime RMDs are gone for the owner, the post-death RMD rules for beneficiaries do still apply to both Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks.
Okay. Are those rules simple?
Not really. They're actually quite complex. They depend on things like when the owner died, who the beneficiary is, spouse, child, someone else, and whether the death was before or after 2020, when the original Secure Act changed a lot.
Right. The Secure Act got rid of the stretch IRA for most people, didn't it?
Largely, yes. For most non-spouse beneficiaries inheriting after 2019, the so-called 10-year rule often applies now. It generally means the entire inherited account has to be emptied out within 10 years after the original owner's death.
10 years,
Yeah.
okay.
There are exceptions for certain beneficiaries, like spouses, but the main point is yes, beneficiaries usually do have distribution requirements, even from Roth accounts. It's definitely something to consider in estate planning.
Good point. So lifetime RMDs gone, but beneficiary RMDs remain.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, what about investing? What can Patricia actually put her money into in these accounts?
Yeah, another area of difference. With a Roth IRA, you generally have tons of flexibility.
Like a regular brokerage account.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, sometimes even alternatives depending on the custodian. You have a lot of control over your investment choices.
Okay, wide open. What about the Roth 401k?
That's usually more limited. The investment options are chosen by your employer or the plan provider. It's typically a curated menu.
What kind of things are usually on the menu?
Often a selection of mutual funds, maybe some target date funds geared towards your retirement year, perhaps a stable value fund, sometimes company stock, if applicable.
So not as much choice.
Generally not, although some plans might offer a brokerage window feature that gives you more options, but that's less common.
Is there any upside to the limited 401k menu?
Well, potentially. Because employers are choosing funds for a large group, they can sometimes negotiate access to institutional share classes of mutual funds.
And those have lower fees.
Often, yes. Low in expense ratios than the retail shares you might buy in an IRA. So it's kind of a trade-off. The IRA offers more flexibility and control, while the 401k might offer lower fees and a simpler, more guided experience.
Right. Depends on what you prefer, more choice or potentially lower costs and simplicity.
Exactly.
Okay, nearly there. Let's just quickly touch on availability. How easy is it to actually get these accounts?
Well, the Roth 401k depends entirely on your employer. If they don't offer it, you can't contribute to one through them. Enrollment is done via work. And it's tied to that job, so if you leave, you have to figure out what to do with the account, usually roll it over.
Okay, employer dependent. And the Roth IRA.
That's open to pretty much anyone with earned income who falls within those MAGI limits we talked about earlier.
Right, the income limits.
Yeah. You open it directly with a bank or brokerage yourself. It's totally portable. It's your account, stays with you no matter where you work.
So much more universally accessible, provided you meet the income requirements.
Correct. If your employer doesn't have a Roth 401k, or if you're self-employed, the Roth IRA is likely your main path for Roth savings, assuming your income allows it.
Okay, Patricia, wow, that was a lot. Let's try to quickly pull the main threads together.
Sounds good.
Roth 401k, potentially much higher contribution limits, possible employer match big pluses. But investment options usually limited, and you need your employer to offer it. No income limits to contribute, though.
Right. And Roth IRA, lower contribution limits, income restrictions apply for direct contributions, no employer match. But huge investment flexibility, easier access to your contributions before retirement.
And the 5-year rule clocks start differently.
IRA clock is universal. 401k clock is often plan specific.
And importantly, that recent change. No lifetime RMDs for either account type anymore.
Huge alignment there, yeah.
So bottom line, Patricia, both are really powerful tools, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Fantastic ways to save for retirement with tax advantages, but the right one. It really depends.
Depends on the individual.
Totally. Your income, whether your employer offers a Roth 401k and a match, how much you want to save, how hands-on you want to be with investments, whether you might need early access. All those factors play a role.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Okay, great. That's a wrap. I'm Katie St Ores, and let me send out a huge thank you for listening. If you want more content on personal finance and small business, head over and find me on YouTube. You can also find me on Spotify, Amazon Music, TikTok, and Apple iTunes. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next Deep Dive podcast.